Today, there is a very potent lunar eclipse in Pisces, and that occurs at 9:18 p.m. Pacific time, so early morning Friday, depending on your time zone. East Coast, it will be on the 28th. The lunar eclipse at 4 degrees Pisces, with the sun at 4 degrees Virgo, really brings us into and through a bigger story that we've been moving throughout 2026. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Thursday, August 27th. I have a full podcast episode out about today's lunar eclipse, so definitely check that out for a deeper dive into what this lunar eclipse brings. Just some thoughts for today that have been percolating for me as we move through these really, really powerful times of change, shifting stories, shifting identities, changes in the balance of power. These are some of the themes that are being highlighted this eclipse season. But the eclipse season that's unfolding in August of 2026 comes on the heels and in the context of outer planet alignments that are just simply extraordinary. And so as astrologers, it's hard for us to even find the words. It's just kind of this jaw-dropping alignment of energies. And so I talk a lot on this channel about how powerful it is and what an amazing opportunity. And some people might be thinking, yeah, but why is everything so messed up? Like, this definitely doesn't feel like the world is going in a good direction or good things are happening, right? So, one of the things to remember is that the outer planet alignment of 2026 and really 2024 through 2029, it's with us for several years. This outer planet alignment, but it is especially potent in 2026. Okay, so it is opening possibility and it is future oriented. So those are like the foundational truths about these outer planet alignments. They are it's a waxing sextile. It's an opening sextile. So the beginning of a cycle, meaning that we look forward, we look to the future, we see possibility, we see what could unfold that we haven't manifested yet or we haven't achieved yet. So there's this magic in the air that is activated by eclipse season that says, you can manifest things that are very different than what you have experienced so far in your life, right? So we have like this limited sort of, view of what's possible based on what we've experienced in our lives so far, what we've seen, be possible, what we've seen, where we've seen ourselves or others really try to create something and have a hard time with it just because of the conditions in the world and all kinds of different ways that we might be wanting to improve our lives or wanting to create something better, more powerful, more meaningful, more authentic, but we have a hard time, right? Because the world as it is doesn't seem like it's really supporting that. And that is all true. So one of the things that this alignment does is, and I've said this before, like it opens the door of possibility, but it doesn't push us through that door. When we have challenging alignments in astrology, we get pushed through the door, and it's like we can grow and learn and adapt by being sort of pushed by our, by the universe or our spirit guides or whatever, however that might work. But it's kind of like you have no choice, and you it's like that adapt or die kind of feeling. what doesn't make you stronger will kill you kind of feeling. But that's not this. This is a very supportive, resourceful alignment. It says, here are the gifts, here are the possibilities, but it's totally optional. Like if you say, I don't really feel like working hard today, or I don't feel like getting up and moving through that door, then those gifts will just drift on by, right? We'll miss that window of opportunity. But one of the things that can happen is that with this energy of support, the feeling of the wind in your sails, it's going to support whatever it is you are choosing. And so we have a lot of things happening in the world right now that are, shall we say, not the highest level of consciousness. Shall we? And so there is support for that also. Everything gets support. Everything is easier, right? So if we have challenging setup in the world, if we have greed, if we have power and greed for power, if we have authoritarianism, if we have fascism, if we have any of those kinds of things, that is also supported. So that's one of the things that's happening right now is that everything is easier. So the onus is on us to say, here's what I want instead. Okay? So we have to choose. We have to actively say, this is what I want to invest in. This is what I want to create. This is what I want to see happen. This is the kind of world I want to live in. And here is how I am taking the next step and the next step and the next to do what I can to align with that world. And you don't have to be perfect, right? But you do have to take those action steps. And you do have to believe in yourself. It's on all these different levels. So it's going to be actions. It's going to be mindset. It's going to be believing in yourself. It's going to be doing the emotional work to heal the patterns of the past, the ways that trauma affects you. All of those things are part of the action steps we need to take, part of the commitment, part of the choosing. And so as we choose to move in the direction or to align with the way we want the world to be, there is support for that. And as those grassroots foundations of empowerment, things like innovation, things about envisioning new and different structures, systems, ways of organizing, ways of building community. When we imagine and envision and take action on those new possibilities, we are at the beginning of creating them. That is how we create them. We start. We create them by starting. What doesn't work is to sit back and hope that someone else will start it or someone else will do it. So I know I harp on this a lot, but that's why it's so important, is because whoever is making the choice is going to have support. So it's really important that we affirm what we want, what we care about, what brings meaning to our lives, what matters, and that and again, you do not have to be perfect. And that is another theme of this full moon eclipse this week. Today's full moon and eclipse is that we don't have to be perfect. What we have to do is be willing to learn and grow. And you can't learn and grow without engaging. And so, if you were in a classroom, the more you engage with the material, the more you learn, right? So the only way you're not going to learn is if you decide not to. If you say, I don't have time for that, or I'm not capable or whatever, right? Then you're not going to engage with it and you're not going to learn. So by engaging, by taking the actions, by looking at your own inner patterns, that's going to be a huge part of this too. When you look at, what has held you back before, what is preventing you from being your true self, what emotional themes, or what do you need to work through, or what grief do you need to process, or what fears are you working through? As you do that work on a very personal level, you are engaging. So that's a big positive to move in the direction of healing. And that is how we manifest the future that we want to experience. So I am, always your message of hope and healing. But I want to say too that it's about what we choose, right? It's not about what the world is giving us. It's about what we're here to learn and how we are here to seize this opportunity to create the future we want, and how we engage with that, and how we live, right? How we actively bring our life force energy into activation. So we have the Saturn Neptune conjunction this year in Aries, saying this is all about life force energy. It's all about finding your life, your life force, your will, your drive, your motivation, and living according to that, and finding ways to cultivate that for yourself and to keep moving. If nothing else, keep trying, keep taking risks, keep finding your courage and figuring out what that looks like. So that's my pep talk, but really it's also giving you that context of what's going on, why we're here, what it's asking of us, and how we can respond. So thank you for joining me. I'm Marina Orms. You can find the Astrology Heals podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. It's also available at transformationalastrology.com, where you can grab a free account and be notified every time a new podcast episode is released for Astrology Heals. Thank you so much for being here and subscribing to this YouTube channel. I'm here every day with astrology for unshakable self-care, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.